The Byakuyakoku Collection. The Byakuyakoku Collection is a book collection found in Enkanomiya. It requires the completion of the quest Collection of Dragons and Snakes to obtain. Volume 1. A novel based on Watatsumi Island's folktales. The original edition of this text was transcribed on Watatsumi Island and brought back to Narukami Island by a merchant while the former serpent god yet lived. No one reads this ancient tome nowadays, its role supplanted by all the light novels on the market. This book describes the unique and cosmological outlook of the Watatsumi Island people before they came to adopt aspects of the Narukami culture, and a recent resurgence in traditional novel publishing has allowed it to see the light of day once more. The Serpent and Drakes of Tokoyokoku. Mystery's creation conceals, the sun and moon omens reveal. 3 corners in darkness shrouded the void, by 5 sands clouded. The universe has no beginning and no end, and so it was with the land that once was. But this matters not to us, for the land that bears us no longer has anything to do with that eternity without start or ceasing. So said the lone sage Abaraku to the first Sunchild. The Sunchild had long intended to punish Abaraku. Summoning the sage before the throne in this manner was but an additional way of making things difficult for him before detaining him. Legend has it that Abaraku was opened up to wisdom by Tokoyokoku and was thus able to bring light to Enkanomiya, which had till then never seen the sun. But the Sunchild grew jealous of his talent, thus imprisoning him for life. Yet these children of the sun never considered that had Abaraku not created that underground star, they never would have existed in the first place. The origin of heaven and earth is like the chicken and egg, and are not dragons and snakes kin? No sooner had the sage Abaraku uttered these words than he was overthrown by troops lying in ambush. At that time, Enkanomiya had only just been bought some room to breathe by the appearance of the sun. The dragon heirs loved the dark and shunned the light, and thus could no longer act with impunity. The days when the dragon heirs would rampage and graze upon humanity like so much grass had at last come to an end, for the people of Enkanomiya finally had the means to resist. Yet it came to pass that the flaws in human nature would rear their ugly heads even before such outside threats could be quelled. The people chose the sunlight, crowned him king, and worshipped him, and yet he ruled with a brutal hand, framing the righteous. Unnumbered years would pass before a young child of Enkanomiya would make a wage with his peers. Alone, he would dive beyond the 3 corners, evading the trail of the dragonaires in search of a dragon-bone flower. But with what he found instead, with the great cavern, was a mighty serpent, one he had never seen before. Somehow, as he gazed upon the serpent's titanic form, the child felt no fear, but instead of a kind and kinship. I am the profane serpent, though my servants are numberless, not one mortal now dwells in my shadow. That I have fallen into this realm and that we would meet. Perhaps this is fate. You are not one of my people, but you are human nonetheless. Speak your desire and I shall hear it. Could you then, perchance, become our god? Thus did they, human and serpent, go forth to face the royal authority of the Sunchild and the excursion of the Dragonairs beyond, thus with the curtain raised on the turning of the tide. The Byakuyakoku Collection, a fascinating tome, discovered deep within the hidden realm of Enkanomiya. This volume, a novel spun from the ancient Batatsumi Island folktales, is a window into a unique and long-forgotten worldview. Though once supplanted by the fleeting whims of light novels, a recent renaissance has allowed this crucial text to emerge into the light once more. Its opening verse hints at profound primordial truths, mysteries creation conceals, the sun and moon omens reveal, three corners in darkness shrouded, the voice by five sands clouded. The tale begins with a lone sage, Aberaku, summoned before the first Sunchild. Aberaku, a figure of great wisdom, said to be blessed by Tokoyokoku himself, was the one who brought the very first artificial sun to the eternally dark Enkanomiya, a miraculous feat without which the Sunchild and his lineage would have never existed. Yet, as is the way of jealous power, the Sunchild intended to punish the sage. As Aberaku stood before the throne, he offered a final, provocative thought. The origin of heaven and earth is like the chicken and egg, and are not dragons and snakes kin? No sooner were the words spoken than Aberaku was seized by the Sunchild's troops and imprisoned for life. At this time, Enkanomiya had just been granted a short relief from the darkness. The fearsome Dragonairs, creatures of the deep that loved the dark and preyed upon mankind, were finally checked by the new artificial light, offered the people a chance to resist. But peril came from within as well. The Sunchild, though crowned king and worshipped, ruled with a brutal hand, framing the righteous. Untold years passed until a pivotal moment arrived. A young Enkanomiyan child, on a dare, plunged into the perilous darkness beyond the three corners, seeking a mythical dragonbone flower. Instead, deep within a cavern, he found a colossal serpent unlike any he had ever imagined. Gazing upon the creature's titanic form, the child felt not fear, but a sense of deep kinship. The serpent spoke, "I am the profane serpent, that I have fallen into this realm, and that we should meet. Perhaps this is fate. Speak your desire, and I shall hear it." And the child, without hesitation, posed the ultimate question to the great beast. Could you then, perchance, become our god? And so human and serpent allied, setting forth to challenge the oppressive royal authority of the Sunchild and the savage incursion of the Dragonairs beyond. Thus, with the curtain raised on the turning of the tide.